Friends, what happened when an Air France flight was hijacked by 4 individuals right on the airport? And how did 4 criminals from India hijack their country's plane and take it to Pakistan? Plus, what happened when a 16-year-old boy hijacked an American plane just for entertainment? Well, in this video, I'm going to tell you about the world's most unusual plane hijackings. Florida Flight 154. In 1969, a Florida flight was traveling from Miami to Key West, carrying a total of 24 people. Just 15 minutes after takeoff, a 16-year-old boy sitting in the last seat called a crew member over. When the flight attendant approached him, he revealed that he had a pistol. Before the flight attendant could react, the boy held her at gunpoint, and the crew realized the plane had been hijacked. However, the passengers were unaware of this. The boy demanded to be taken to the cockpit. Once he reached the pilot, he told him that he didn't want money. Instead, his only demand was to have the plane flown to Cuba. He even said that once they reached Cuba, he would surrender. The pilot communicated with the control tower, informing them of the situation, and permission was granted for the plane to head toward Cuba. After a while, the passengers realized the plane had been hijacked, but the boy kept them quiet by threatening them with a gun. A few hours later, the flight landed in Cuba. Upon arrival, the hijacker surrendered as promised. This hijacking was so unusual that no one quite understood what had just happened. When the police arrested the boy and asked why he had done this, he gave a very strange answer. He explained that he had seen movies about Cuba's islands and adventures and had always wanted to go there. At the time, the US government had imposed a ban on traveling to Cuba. When the boy realized there was no way to visit Cuba legally, he thought to himself, "Why not hijack a plane and get there myself to see everything?" Just imagine, this boy was only 16 years old, a schoolboy, who hijacked a plane just to see Cuba, all because of a movie. What could be more reckless than that? Indian Airlines Flight IC-814. On December 24, 1999, Indian Airlines Flight IC-814 was departing from Kathmandu to Delhi. The flight had 180 people on board, including crew members. However, no one could have imagined what was about to happen. Although the flight was only supposed to last 2 hours, just half an hour into the flight, 4 passengers suddenly stood up. They were wearing masks and armed with guns. They informed the passengers and crew that the plane had been hijacked. They shouted, "The plane has been hijacked, hands up!" Afterward, 2 of them entered the cockpit, held the pilot at gunpoint, and ordered him to turn the plane westward. As soon as the pilot changed course, the control tower realized something was wrong. When an attempt was made to contact the plane, it was discovered that it had been hijacked. The plane flew in the air for about 4 hours, but then suddenly began running low on fuel. When the pilot informed the hijackers about the fuel shortage, they permitted the plane to land in Amritsar, India, to refuel. The hijackers contacted the control tower and explained the situation. However, before Indian officers could approach the hijackers under the pretext of refueling, the criminals became suspicious. They forced the pilot to take off again without refueling. A little while later, the plane neared Lahore Airport in Pakistan. By now, the fuel was so critically low that the chances of a crash were almost 100%. The pilot requested the Lahore control tower for permission to land in Pakistan. Initially, the Pakistani government was unsure of what to do, but after repeated requests, they finally granted permission. The hijacked plane landed in Lahore. The Indian commissioner informed the Pakistani government about the entire situation and requested assistance in apprehending the hijackers. Once the plane landed, the Pakistani army surrounded it. They asked the hijackers about their demands, to which the hijackers replied that they wanted $2 million and the release of 36 prisoners from Indian custody. Before negotiations could progress further, the hijackers refueled the plane and forced the pilot to take off again. This time, they ordered the pilot to fly to the Dubai airbase. In response to the escalating hijack situation, the Dubai government allowed the plane to land there. Permission to land in Dubai was granted. The plane landed in Dubai, and the Dubai government managed to negotiate with the hijackers, securing the release of 26 passengers. However, during this time, the hijackers killed 2 passengers. The hijacked plane continued to fly from one place to another, remaining under the hijackers' control for an entire day. The next day, the plane reached Afghanistan. The Afghan government allowed the plane to land, hoping to negotiate with the hijackers and resolve the crisis. However, believe it or not, the plane remained parked at the Afghan airbase with its passengers for the next 6 days. Neither the Indian authorities fulfilled their demands, nor were the hijackers willing to compromise. Finally, after assessing the situation, India decided to meet part of their demands. Instead of $2 million and the release of 36 prisoners, India agreed to release only 3 of their associates. These 3 prisoners were taken from India to the Afghanistan border to meet the hijackers' demands. Ultimately, when the hijackers received the 3 criminals and the agreed amount, they announced the release of all passengers on the plane. However, before doing so, the hijackers demanded that the Afghan authorities ensure their safe passage to the border. The hijackers' demand was fulfilled, and they were safely transported to the border. The most shocking part is that these hijackers were never caught. It's unclear who they were or where they came from, but this incident was truly nothing less than a nightmare. Air France Flight 8969. This incident dates back to December 24, 1994. An Air France flight was preparing to take off from Algiers to Paris. The flight had 232 passengers on board. As everyone settled in and the plane was almost ready to take off, 4 police officers suddenly entered the aircraft, claiming to be Algerian police there to conduct passenger checks. However, shortly after boarding, the 4 men pointed guns at the passengers and cabin crew, revealing that they had hijacked the plane. They then instructed the pilot to contact the control tower and inform them about the situation. As soon as the pilot communicated this, the Algerian army surrounded the runway, and the Algerian government was informed. The intentions of these hijackers remained unclear, as it didn't seem like they had any plans to take off. The plane's stairs were still attached. Not long after hijacking the plane, one of the hijackers forced a passenger to get up and exit the plane. As soon as the passenger stepped outside, the hijacker shot him dead. Shortly after, they repeated this and killed another passenger in the same manner. Authorities tried to negotiate with them and fulfill their demands, but they were not even willing to talk. The situation stretched into the night, and by morning, they killed another passenger. After that, they started killing 1 passenger every half hour. When they had killed 36 people, they forced the captain to take off the plane. The hijackers flew the plane from Algeria to Paris airport, but the military was fully prepared and waiting for them. Before the hijackers could kill another passenger, the French army managed to board the plane. They not only succeeded in evacuating the remaining passengers, but, without concern for their own lives, confronted the hijackers and killed each one of them. Anyway, this incident was among the most dangerous plane hijacks in the world. Thank you for watching this Wonder Hitch video. Your support and kind comments mean the world to us. Stay tuned for another fascinating story in the next video.